Hey, 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 welcome back to Knuckle Sandwich MMA. We have Nando in the house. Look at that. I got it right the first time. Bam! Got Nando in the house. You got Alex here with you, and we're glad to be back. We're excited. We're still fired up from last weekend's fight. Great card. We're going to hopefully talk about that today, but we've got a fantastic card today, this coming weekend. And I'm telling you, there's some great. I don't know, Mick Maynard and those guys at the UFC, they've been seemingly working overtime. Don't you agree, Nando, on these matchups?
Yeah,
They're solid.
yeah, they're great matchups. They're great fights. They're trying to get people in positions where people want to see them. There's a lot of people here that they're trying to get them another chance and getting them a good matchup because they haven't had good matchups and they're on some losing streaks. But we're trying to get these people back in the spotlight.
Yep, and I agree with that 100%. We're going to start with the bottom of the card. We're going to run through them, and we do have a couple of fights that we do want to mention in the prelims. Nando has a couple that he wants to talk about, and a couple I do. We're going to run through them all though, like we always do, and then we're going to focus on that main card because there's some killer fights in there. All right, first off, we have Christian Rodriguez versus Josh Weems, and I believe Josh Weems is a debut. I believe. Let me see.
Yeah, he's 28. He's 11-2. He's four of his last five.
Okay. And we've got Christian Rodriguez at a minus 200 on that. And let's move up to the next one. We've got Cody Durden versus Carlos Mota.
Mhm.
Carlos is a debut. You got anything on him?
I just got 8-1. He's four of the last five. Durden is 13-4. He's two of the last five. He's from American Top Team Atlanta.
Okay. And he's at a minus 175 on the odds from Durden. And I've seen him fight. I like his style. He's a pretty exciting fighter. All right. Next up, we have Chase Hooper versus Steve Garcia. And I know by the way Nando's reacting, he wants to talk. Go ahead.
Chase Hooper, Ben Askren's son, is he's a great fighter. He's got a great style, and Steve Garcia is a great fighter too. He's Jackson MMA. Chase Hooper is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think his last fight he lost Chase Hooper, but then he won. He's got a good style, but he's got some work to do.
Yeah, and I agree. He's very awkward. He's brave. I'll tell you. I'll give you that much. Steve Garcia, even though he lost, he's a pretty good fighter too. And but Chase Hooper has a minus 275 odds on that fight to win. And we're going to go up to the next one real quick. We got Joseph Holmes versus Junyoung Park. And this one is surprising as far as the odds, but we've got a minus 240 for Park to win over Holmes. And Holmes has got the mustache to end all mustache. I'll tell you what, he's got that curly Q thing going on, all waxed and curled on the side. He reminded me of what was Uncle Creepy? Remember him?
Oh, Ian McCall.
Ian McCall. Uncle Creepy had one of those mustaches. Well, he's bringing it back in style. And we got Park at a minus 240. We're going to move on to the next one because I do want to comment on this one. This is Andre Arlovsky versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. And Arlovsky is an old warhorse, man. He's been in the fight game forever. I actually met him in Vegas.
Oh,
And,
really?
yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a big dude. He's a big.
Oh, he
I'm not
looks
that
pretty
tall,
big.
but he's a big guy. Yeah, he's super friendly. He talked to me for a minute. I asked him a couple of questions. Very nice, very soft-spoken guy. So he was pretty cool to me. But he is not favored in this fight, and I see why. Because De Lima, he's a monster, man. I've got he's at a minus 240. You got any comments on this fight?
He's 19 of 8. He's three of his last five. Um, he's from American Top Team. Orlovsky, though, is 4 of 5. He's on a 4-fight winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever he fights some of those upper echelon guys, he loses. Like he lost to Derek Lewis. He lost to Rosenstruck. He just lost to what's the new Aspinall.
Yeah.
So when they're trying to bring somebody up, they put him against Orlovsky. I'd hope Orlovsky does good and wins.
Yeah, and I like Orlovsky because he's just been around for so long. The age is catching up with him because you can see that he slows down in the later rounds. He never stops, but he does slow down and he takes more punishment. He's getting better at moving his head, but Lima can throw some bombs, dude. He can throw some bombs, and so I'm picking Lima to win that fight. I want Arlovsky to win, but my money's with Lima. All right, next up we have Phil Hawes versus Roman Dolidze.
Yeah, Dolidze.
How do you pronounce it?
Dolidze? I just watched a video on him.
Yeah, Dolidze. Okay, and we've got Phil Hawes at a minus 170, and they're both coming up with wins. What's your take?
Roland Dolidze, he's 34, he's 10-1, Extreme Couture. I just watched the thing. He has a great clinch. He fought Dawkins, and if you remember, he had Dawkins close and he hit him with that knee and just knocked him out. Now, Phil Hawes is 12-3. He's 4-5. He's from Sanford, and he's the one that had the incident with DC, where it was DC's guy fought and he got in DC's face and started yelling at him, and DC's like, "Hey, man, you didn't beat me. You beat this guy, but you didn't beat me. So you don't want these problems." And he has a Kevin Randleman style where he runs. He has good wrestling. I'm going to go with Dolidze on this fight. I don't know if we're picking yet, but I'm going with Dolidze.
I'm going to go with Dolidze as well. He looked really great in his last fight. And Phil Hawes, he's no slouch. He's a killer, man, you know. And but that's almost a toss-up. And the odds say similarly. You know, minus 170 for Hawes and plus 145 for Dolidze. All right, now we're going to move to the main card, my friends. We've got some great fights on this card. There are 6 fights on the main card, and we're going to talk about each and every one of them. First up, to start off the main card, we have Dustin Jacoby versus Khalil Roundtree. And we've got Dustin at a minus 170 favor. To a plus 145 for Khalil Roundtree. And I'm going to let you give your take on this because I want to hear what you have to say, and then I'm going to give my take. Go ahead.
Yeah. So hold on. Okay. So Dustin Jacoby's 34. He's 18-5. He's on an 8-5 winning streak. He's returning to the OC after going 0-2 the first time he was here. He's great kickboxing. Khalil Roundtree is like one of my favorite fighters. He's 10-5. He's 3-5. Went to Thailand to get his kickboxing, and he's got great kickboxing. Great. He stopped a couple guys with leg kicks, but I really don't know. I mean, my hopes are higher than I think he's been, but I'll probably go with Khalil Roundtree. I think he's going to keep it standing, and he's going to try to work those legs with those Muay Thai leg kicks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call attention for our Knuckle Sandwich fans of Nando's hat over here. You know, this hat right there. Okay, the Detroit Lions, man. I mean, so I'm gonna give props to Nando because he is loyal. Okay, I'm a fly by night. I'm a fair weather fan. It doesn't matter to me, but I'm giving him props for wearing that hat. But come on, Nando, come on, man. Anyway, the reason why I bring up the hat is because this is where Nando and I part ways once again. Okay, and I hope you have your list, Nando, of who picked the winners and losers last time.
Man.
But
okay,
I'm gonna go with Justin Jacoby. Khalil Roundtree is one of my favorite fighters as well. But I think Dustin Jacoby is he moved forward a lot. He doesn't back up, and I think he's going to edge out Khalil probably by a decision. I don't think it's going to be a knockout, but they both have knockout power, so I wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's go to the next fight. We've got Josh Fremd versus Trezon Gore. And Trezon was a good, he was like a hopeful. He looked good in the, I think it was Tough, right? It wasn't the Contender Series. He was on Tough, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so and he was looking good and everything, but he's on like a 3-fight losing skid, isn't he?
Yeah.
He hasn't won in the UFC yet, and so I think
Trayshawn? No,
yeah.
Trayshawn, his first 2 fights in the UFC, he's lost.
Okay, so but he hasn't won anything in the UFC since he's been in the UFC.
No,
So his match
he
against the
has
wall here.
he's 3 of 2. So
Yeah,
he all his other fights were not in the UFC. And then he's got some, I think a win in the Ultimate Fighter, but that's an exhibition. That doesn't go on your actual professional
yeah, agreed.
record.
But I think his back's against the wall, Nando. I think if he loses this fight, they're going to see him give him the boot. So I think he has to win because that's going to be 3 fights in a row, and your first 3 fights in UFC, they're not gonna put up with that. So his back's against the wall. I think he's looking to score an exciting knockout. Josh Friend, he's no slouch. They're both coming off of losses, but and he's at a -155. Josh is, but I'm gonna go with Trayson, and I'm gonna go with Gore on this one because I do think he's backed into a corner and he's going to come out swinging. So that's my feeling on that one. What you got?
Yeah, I feel the same. He has great ground and pound. He's very aggressive, and I think that's one of the reasons he's losing these fights is he's too aggressive. He punches and he runs right at these guys. He's not like hiding anything that he's going to take him down. He just runs at him head down, and they're just punching him right in the head. You know what I mean? He's got like a rhino style. You know what I mean?
You remember the Juggernaut from the comics?
Yeah.
That's who he reminds me of, the Juggernaut, man.
Yeah, I think he's also from ATT Atlanta. I didn't know that they opened it in Atlanta. Like, what would that be? Like a spinoff of American Top Team? But yeah, he's from there. A couple fighters from this card are from there.
They're
And
it's probably I think it's a franchise deal. You can buy the ATT franchise. Yeah, and they're going to give you all of their materials or whatever for training and whatnot. All right, so you got Gore as well.
Yes, so we're both on.
Okay. Next up, we have Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Jared Vanderaa, and it is Acosta's debut, and Jared Vanderaa is coming off of a loss. And Acosta is at a -195 to Jared's +165. What's your take on this one, Mando?
I think Jared's 1 of 5. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. Also, Chase Sherman, Olenek, Orlovsky. He's 12-9 his whole record. Waldo Cortez is 7-0. He's on a 7-fight winning streak, of course, because he's 7-0. He's a Dana White contender. He's a slugger. He's a big guy, and he just throws those haymakers. It's kind of like a Dan Hardy, not Dan Hardy. What's the other guy? Greg Hardy style. But he's from the Dominican Republic. He's 31. He's still, for being a heavyweight, that's not bad. That's kind of the age you want to be. Heavyweights last a little longer than the other fighters in the other weight classes. But I'm gonna go with Waldo, and I think I think he's got a good style. But they're not anything to write home about. They're just gonna go out there and slug it out.
Well, I'm gonna say where's Waldo because that's who I'm going with. Okay, so I'm gonna pick Acosta as well. We're agreed on that one. But I think if Jared loses this, he's gone. So they got to clean up the rank and file because they're bringing in too many new fighters, man, and they got to make room for them. And if you're losing, and what did you say Jared's record is again?
12-9. He's one of the last 5.
Whew. I don't know why he's still there.
crazy.
Maybe they don't have enough heavyweights. I have no idea. But that's not a good record.
Maybe the next Ultimate Fighter is going to be heavyweights.
Yeah, they need some. All right, next up we got Tim the Dirty Bird Means versus Max Griffin, and both of these dudes are tough as nails, my friends. We've got -190 for Max Griffin, with a plus 160 for Tim Means. Now, I just watched an article or interview with Tim Means, and he says, I come to win, man, because they're trying to say, well, you've been in the game a long time, you know, is it just another fight, blah, 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 blah. I kind of don't like those things when they do that, because they're saying, you know, basically like you're just a gatekeeper type of guy. And Tim Means came back with the perfect response. He says, I hate losing. I came to win. And I believe him. But Max Griffin is one tough dude. They're both coming off of losses. What's your take?
Yeah, Tim Means, he's a long fighter. He's 32 of 13, 3 of the last 5. He had a loss to Kevin Holland that kind of set him back, but then wins over Mike Perry and other fighters. Matt Griffin is 36. He's 18 and 9. He's 3 of 5. Lost to Neil Magny, Alex Oliveira. He has a win over Carlos Condit, and Carlos Condit is an old bird too. He's a tough guy. I think these guys are going to go in there and they're going to lay it all on the line. I don't know if there'll be a lot of wrestling, but I think they're just going to go in there. It's going to be like Jim Ross used to say, just a street fight.
I like to say a slobber knocker.
Yeah, Chicago street fight.
I think like that famous movie, There Will Be Blood. I think there's going to be blood here, and I don't think neither one of them is going to back down. I'm going to go with Griffin. I'm picking Griffin to win this, but I think it's going to be a TKO or a knockout.
I think it's going to go decision, and I'm going with Dirty Bird.
You're going with the Bird?
Yeah.
Okay, come on, do it, Nando. Do Peter Griffin. the bird is the word.
Bird's the
word. All right, man. Let's see. Now we're to the main fight of the fight that this whole card is built around. We've got Kelvin KATTAR versus Arnold Allen. Now, this one could be a fight of the year type of fight, because both of these guys bring it. They're both super tough. They're both have knockout power, and they're both aggressive. We've got, wow, it's a toss-up on the odds. On KATTAR, we've got a minus 105, and on Allen, we got a minus 115. So they're saying it's anybody's fight, you guys. And this is going to be a tough one to pick, but I'm not picking until I hear Nando's analysis. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Calvin Kattar is 5. He's 23 and 6. He's 3 of 5. He had some tough fights with Josh Emmett, Max Holloway, Zabit. It's good pressure, dynamite in his hands, and he's trying to get a win, because right now, Volkanovski said, I'm going up to get a title. So now these people got to start. They got to take they have to take the ball, and let's figure out. And all in Arnold Allen is 28. He's 18-1. He's on an 11-fight winning streak. Great wrestling. He has a wide stance, and I was watching him right before this. It's a punch kick, and then he'll go for a takedown, or he'll push back, punch kick, and they're gonna go to try to win. I don't think they're worried about getting hurt or whatever, because they know they have time, and I think Calvin Kattar has more experience, but I think Arnold Allen is a little bit faster and a little more hungry. He hasn't really had because the Max Holloway took a lot out of Kattar. It took a lot. It was close, but he got embarrassed out there. I think Arnold Allen is a different fight. Calvin Kattar likes that he's not going to try to pick him apart. But I'm going to go with Arnold Allen.
Ooh, okay. All right. You surprised me, because you're talking about so much about Kattar, and then you say Allen. You pull the old switcheroo on me, man. Well, this is a tough one for me. It really is. I really like both fighters, and it's not just because I know who I like or don't like. It is a matter of they both have cardio. They both have great. They're both very skilled in striking. I do think you make a lot of sense, Nando, in that Allen has a ground game too. And I think KATTAR is more of a stand-up fighter. I think if Allen takes him to the ground, the fight is his. I think if they keep it standing, it's so close to tell. I can't pick one, but I'm going to be forced to pick one. Okay. So I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to pick one. Okay. Okay. There. Oh, it looks like Arnold Allen. So
Do you think it
that's
goes
the
all
only,
5 rounds?
no, no, because I think they throw too many. Their punches are too heavy. I don't think they'll last 5 rounds, man. If they do, it's going to be a bloody mess. And we already know KATTAR becomes a bloody mess. I've never seen Allen super bloody or anything like that, but if they go all 5 rounds, they have the cardio for it. There's no doubt about that. I just think the punching is just gonna wear him down. You know, at the end, if Allen takes him to the ground 2 or 3 times, it's definitely Allen's. I see that. So that's who I'm picking. And that's it. It's going to be a great card. You guys tune in, okay? Tune into this card because, like I said at the very beginning, the matchmakers are doing a great job in figuring out very competitive fights. And now we have some time. I want to go over the picks. Nando's got them listed. Let's pick who did the better job picking the fights for last weekend.
Okay, so
And be honest.
no, we're tied because I had Bel Muhammad. We both picked the same on the Mano Farad. You had Dariush, which was right, so then we're even. And then we both picked Jan. We were both wrong. And we both picked Dillashaw, which we were wrong. And then we both picked Oliveira. So we tied.
But we pick more losers than winners. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, don't bet put your money on our picks. Well, I think we're going to do better this time. I think we're going to do better this time because even though it's okay, but let's talk about Sean O'Malley because that's, that fight, him and Jan was the fight of the night with good reason. It was a great back and forth. Who do you think won and why do you think that person won that you chose?
I think Peter Yan did better, but I think they scored it like championship scoring, I call it. Where Sean O'Malley was the champion in their eyes. So you were gonna have to definitively beat Sean O'Malley, and he didn't. And they judged by damage. Obviously, they judged by damage because it wasn't by ground control, and it wasn't. And they looked at those takedowns, and they thought he didn't do much with it, and Sean O'Malley did more with the punches. And I think that's how they judged it. Is that the way they should judge it? No, I think there should be, it shouldn't be like boxing where it's 10-9. There should be like 3 categories: ground, control, damage. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know, but I mean there should be more of a thing than just 10-9.
Okay.
What do you think?
So you disagree with them choosing O'Malley to win that fight?
No, I think O'Malley won, but
Okay.
I think he had more damage. I think that's how they judged it, and if that's how they judged it, then yeah, he won.
Okay. I think I agree with what you're saying about the categories and how they judge fights. But the one thing that's interesting is there was not a lot of damage on the ground to O'Malley. At least he didn't show it, even though Jan had more ground control. Yeah, he had more ground control. And I can understand why Jan is even cheesed off about that because that's exactly what Aljo did to him. And, and Aljo won. And I think that really put a burr in his saddle, man. He was upset about that. And then he turned around and did the same thing to O'Malley, and didn't get the same result. But I think overall, for me, I think it was a close fight. It could have went either way, but I do agree that I think O'Malley won as well because his strikes looked a lot better. He was tagging him with those jabs, the whole fight, and I thought his strikes were a lot better. And Jan, he changed up his game plan, that's for sure. He didn't throw a lot of leg kicks, which I thought he was going to throw a lot more, but he changed the leg kick. He like swapped the leg kicks for takedowns, basically. And because he figured if I can get on him, ground and pound him, submit him, tap him out or whatever, this should be an easy fight. And I don't think he expected O'Malley to be as tough as he was because of his previous fights of, but it just, I don't know, it kind of amazes me that he didn't do more leg kicks. He had a couple of good ones, but O'Malley just kind of walked right through him. I didn't see him limping. I didn't see him wincing. He's definitely improving. And now he's the #1 contender. It just came out. He's the #1 contender. So guess who's fighting Aljamain?
I think it's a bad matchup for him. I think Aljo will do better with his length as far as submissions and as far as stuff like that. I think it's going to be a way harder fight. I think he should fight Cheeto and let Cejudo fight Sterling. Get one more fight under his belt.
And I think that's going to be a tough fight. I think because Cheeto, he's coming a long way, man. He's looking like a freaking monster. I think that would be a heck of a fight, him and O'Malley once again. I don't think they're going to do that though, because O'Malley brings too many freaking eyeballs to the game, and Aljamain Sterling needs more eyeballs. He's legit. You can't take it away from him, regardless of his last 3 fights. If you can say this, you can say that. It just doesn't matter. He is legit because he's defended the belt twice, right? Or
right.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah. He won it, defended it twice.
Yeah, so you can't take it away. If Dillashaw went in there, let's talk about that fight for a minute. If Dillashaw went in there injured, that's not Aljo's problem. That's Dillashaw's problem. And I think Dillashaw, in my opinion, I think he needs to retire. I think he's too, he used to make fun of Dominic Cruz of being brittle and always being injured. And that's come back to haunt him, man. Karma is a what.
Yeah, I don't know how they even cleared him. He said it popped out 20 times before the fight even happened. Well, why fight if you can't win the title?
Money. I got to make that money. Got to pay those bills, bro. But
okay.
One of his sparring partners said he couldn't even lift his. Oh, it's Cub Swanson said he couldn't even lift his arm during camp, and that's a problem, man. Yeah, but there's a reason why they call him the Snake, I guess. I wasn't super happy with it, not because I picked him and he lost, because he went in there with that kind of injury. Would you or I ever picked him if we had any inkling of that? No, heck no. No way. But I think because when you go in there saying, and everybody goes in injured with some kind of a nagging injury, could be something major like Dillashaw's, or it could be, a deep Charlie horse or bruise or, pulled ligament or whatever, right? But when you're going in there injured, I mean, like with one wing, because I went back and rewatched the fight, and he was just punching with one arm. Because that arm was already, before he got taken down, he's trying to make like that takedown, popped his shoulder out. I don't think so, man. I think because he was just doing one arm and kicks, and that's all he was doing, because that arm was off. I looked at it again, I'm saying that arm was injured, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think about Benny's call out?
Whose call out?
Benny. I was watching it and I was like, I can just see Alex going, no, don't say you're gonna fight 10 more fighters. Just say, this is his chance to fight Islam. And he's like, I'll fight 10 more fighters, I'll fight. And that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna give him 10 more fights. He's not fighting for the title. He's not making anybody interested. I think that
I told you.
I think he ends up fight. If he's lucky, he ends up fighting Oliveira or Gaethje. But yeah, he's not going to fight for the title anytime soon. They have Volkanovski's fighting for the title now.
Yep.
Volkanovski went in there and
Yeah, but Dariush was looking good. I think he can beat Oliveira, and I think he can beat Justin Gaethje too. I don't think he can. The only one I don't think he can beat is Islam. I don't think he can beat Islam. Islam. The thing with Islam that I noticed in that fight is he is so strong, man. You know what I mean? He is just so strong. The way he was handling Oliveira, I'm thinking, wow, that dude has got some strength.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had the chance to call somebody out, and I don't know, man. I'm gonna call him on the DM. I'm gonna send him a message. He's gonna go, "Who are you?"
Yeah, and Bilal did the right thing. He said, I'll fight, I'll step up and fight whoever does it, fight for the title with Usman or whatever, or I'll fight Hazmat. At least he had people that he called out.
Yeah,
Hazmat is supposedly fighting Colby now. Let's hope, and they said winner gets the title, which I thought.
I'd like to see Colby. I think that's a but Bilal, he's proved his point time and time again. A young Sean Brady, very confident, and he worked him. He busted him up, man. But I think Sean Brady has got a serious issue, okay, and it's his nose. He had it fixed, but I think it's like when you get a glass jaw, right? You're susceptible to knockouts for the rest of your career. I think Sean Brady is going to be one of those guys that's always going to have nose issues, and that's going to make him pause when he fights because he doesn't want to get that nose. I'm pretty sure it got busted again. It looked like it was plastered all over his face again. But Bilal, man, that dude looks good. He's strong too, man. He's really strong. And the thing I like about his style, Nando, is he just moves forward. And he's confident. He was throwing bombs, Brady was a little more accurate until he wasn't, until he started getting tagged and that nose started hurting him. And then he was just on his bike, kind of backing away. And Bilal said, "Nah, you're not going anywhere." And he worked him. I thought that was a great fight for Bilal.
Yes.
All right, guys. I was just talking to Nando before we came live, and we're going to try a different format next week. Try and improve this and get to the point where we're not just relying on having it be done on a certain time. If we go over, no big deal, right? Now, I'm looking at the clock right now. We got 4 minutes left, and I got to tell you, Nando, the cards that are coming up are some great cards. And let me ask you this, Nando, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you give the full fight card from last week?
I would say it's the best fight card we've had all year. So like a 9. I think the one in December is what, Yuri and Glover. John Jones says he's not ready. Ben Askren said, I've been retired for 3 years and I'm more active than John Jones. And he said he's not coming back. He said he might come back in the summer. He's not. The guy doesn't want to fight, which they're saying maybe March, maybe April now.
Yeah, they're saying the same things about McGregor. He's not coming back. I don't see him coming back. He's not even in the testing pool anymore, I don't think.
No,
is Cejudo still in the testing pool?
Yeah, well, Cejudo says he is, and that he wants to fight Aljo, which I don't know. That'd be a good fight.
Yeah, I don't think Cejudo will beat him though. I think Aljo, man, that dude's got like one of the best physiques in the UFC, man. He looks freaking strong, and he just needs to he needs to stop bitching so much. You know what I mean? He needs to stop griping and start acting like a champion, and
No, he's gonna be another Tyrone Woodley where he's upset and the company's against him.
Yeah.
But if he keeps winning, he keeps winning.
Yep. But I don't think Cejudo. I think Aljo's got too much length on Cejudo, and I think that that's going to be a major factor. Cejudo, what is he, 5'7", 5'6", something like that, and that reach differential is going to be too much, especially with those long legs wrapping around him. And I know he's a Olympic wrestler and all that stuff, but I think if Aljo needs to improve his striking, though, for sure. He'd be a monster if he improved his striking, because you could tell he was ready for the takedown in that fight. He was looking for that takedown, just looking for it. I'm gonna, when he starts using the term backpack, I'm gonna backpack you. That's a Damian Maya, term, and you know what to expect. But as soon as people know what to expect, they know how to counter it. And Jan and a lot of those fighters that are up and comers, they looked at that Jan fight of Aljo being on his back, and they're taking notes, because that's only going to last so long. That's why I say Aljo now needs to start really improving his striking, and getting that down so he's more well-rounded.
Okay.
All right, you guys, that is it for us. Knuckle Sandwich MMA. Please like and subscribe and share. Okay. And like I said, next week we will have a new format. I'm going to work on it this week and see about making it a little bit more user friendly. That's what we want to do. All right, Nando, thank you so much for your analysis. Appreciate the hard work that you're putting in, and we shall see you guys on the flip side. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.